Back in the saddle, ladies and gentlemen, April 28th, Monday, April 28th, 2014. Dr. Glidden here, your steadfast advocate for health. Welcome back. My first day back in the saddle after Longevity Convention 2014 this year in Anaheim, California. About 1,500 people showed up for a three-day extravaganza, a three-day health and wealth extravaganza. A lot of great speakers, a lot of great information, a lot of great inspiration, a lot of great handshaking and head rubbing. It was great. Fantastic event. We look forward to it every year because it builds confidence. It helps people feel like they're not alone, because it's so very, very easy to feel like you are alone when you are in the small percentage of human beings who have understood the truth of the things, the truth of the matter, the simple fact that MD-directed medical therapeutics for chronic diseases do not work. They don't work. And guess what? Hallelujah. There exist in real time alternatives developed and delivered by licensed physicians which work. Alternatives to drugs and surgery, the intention of which are to support and promote your body's God-given built-in ability to fix themselves. We are in the minority, and we need to stick together. Remember what Benjamin Franklin, my second cousin 7 times removed, said: unless we hang together, most assuredly we will hang alone. This in from Medscape. Got seatbelts? Fasten them. At least 1 in 20 U.S. adults receiving outpatient care, which comes out to 12 million patients annually, are misdiagnosed, and half of these medical errors could be harmful, according to a population-based estimate. Because definitions of medical errors vary, Dr. Singh and his colleagues synthesized 3 studies that use conceptually similar definitions, blah, 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 blah. The estimated diagnostic error rate yielded in the primary care study was 5.06%. 5.06%. 5.06%. We estimate the frequency of diagnostic error to be at least 5% in outpatient adults. 5% in outpatient adults, a number that entails a substantial patient safety risk. A substantial patient safety risk, the authors conclude. This, of course, from Medscape. Brand new article entitled Misdiagnoses All Too Common, 1 in 20 U.S. adults patients, 1 in 20 U.S. adult patients. Now, and here's what they say. At the end, they say, the authors hope that this study prompts systematic measurement and reduction of medical errors. They hope that it prompts systematic measurement and reduction of medical errors. Okay, so MDs, because of not because their therapeutics are bad, which, they are, but in this case, just because they get it wrong, just because they're incompetent, just because they don't know what they're doing, they misdiagnose. They make a mistake. They make a lot of mistakes. This is a big one, harming 12 million people a day, and the authors hope that something happens. Meanwhile, in the Food and Drug Administration, in 2013, they recalled 13,096,784 different units of food. There were 75 recalls in all, equating to 13,096,784 pounds of food recalled. They took action, and they recalled 13 million pounds of food. They didn't just sit back and hope. They didn't just sit back and wait for the fairy godmother to come down and make everything all right again. They took action. When the food is bad, they take action. In 2013, in 2014, so far, right, we're only in April, there have been 17 million motor vehicle recalls internationally. 17 million motor vehicle recalls internationally, according to the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and other courses. In all of 2013, there were 22 million. In the first quarter of 2014, there have been 17 million. By the way, the U.S. record, 30.8 million, set in 2004. So let me get this straight. When the automobile industry screws up, they jump into action and they recall vehicles. The record, 30.8 million so far, 17 million in 2014. When the food production goes south, the Food and Drug Administration does one good thing, is they step in and they recall 13 million pounds of food last year. They took action. Did they just hope that something good would happen? No, they took action. But when your doctor screws up, when your MD screws up, and 12 million lives are affected negatively, they get a pass. And no action is taken. No lawsuits are taken. Nobody goes to jail. There are no consequences. It's not even a flicker on the CBS Evening News. There's nothing. Nothing happens. And this is why I have this radio show. Because we are deeply embedded in this country, especially in the medical matrix. We are deeply embedded in the myth of the MD. So much so that when they harm us, when they fail us, when they kill us, we give them a pass, and there are absolutely no consequences. This, by the way, this can only happen when an industry has been monopolized. This doesn't happen in the automobile industry because there's no monopoly in the automobile industry, right? It's competition. So everybody has to, play by the same set of rules, but there is no competition in the landscape of medicine here in the United States or in Canada or in nations of the European Union. There is no competition because the MDs, since the early 1900s, 1925 more or less, have maintained a top dog position, and they got their top dog position not because their therapeutics were better, more effective, more affordable, but because of legal and financial collaborations that were made a long time ago that they don't teach you about in school anymore. People look around the landscape and they see that, well, son of a gun, the only medicine practiced in my hospital is MD medicine. The only medicine my insurance pays for is MD medicine. The only medicine they make TV shows about, well, it's MD medicine. The only medicine that's really all around the world all the time is MD medicine. So people automatically assume that MDs are the best at what they do because their stuff must be better, and it's not. They're in top dog position. They're in the catbird seat because of drug money, because of pharmaceutical money, power, and influence, period. And it is such a big bad voodoo daddy, such a big bad voodoo daddy, that when they screw up like this, are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? 12 million people a year, 12 million people a year are hurt by MD misdiagnoses. Nothing happens. One more reason, right, to get on our bandwagon, fire your MD now, and make your body so healthy that you don't need an MD. That really the MDs are best for surgery and trauma care when it's indicated. Handful of infectious diseases, they're good for that. Every time I go to the dentist, I thank God for Novocaine, right? But that's it. Get yourself so healthy that you don't need to darken the door of the MD. You don't need to darken the door of the MD. And I'm going to also tell you right now a little story that happened this weekend, which really kind of brought everything into focus for me. It brought everything into focus for me. I really haven't had to deal with mainstream medicine personally in a number of years, because my health is excellent. My health is excellent. My health is excellent not because I have good genes, but because I have a good doctor, Dr. Joel Wallach. So, we're at the Longevity Convention, and a young woman there developed a seizure. She had a seizure during dinner, and we took her up to her room and helped her out, and she started to calm down, and then she had another seizure. And then for some reason, the hospital the hotel got involved. And for reasons that they said were legal, and I really have to, I'd have to do some research to see whether or not that was in fact the case. They called the EMTs. So, 8 EMTs show up in the room, the hotel room of this young lady had just recovered from 2 seizures, and she was just more than a little bit out of it. Didn't know what day of the week it was, didn't know where she was, even though 30 minutes prior she had after her first seizure, and it was too early to be asking her questions. So 8 big, and these guys were big. These were like firefighter EMT guys, like 6'2", 250 pounds. There wasn't a single one of them there that was under 220 pounds. Big boys, all of them. All with the equipment, all with the uniforms, all looking very stern, all extremely arrogant, all extremely condescending. And they strong-armed the woman to go to the hospital. And she was out of it. And I told them that I was a physician. They said, "What kind of a physician are you?" They said, I said, "I'm a naturopathic physician." They said, "Oh, nature a what?" Looked at me down their nose. And then they proceeded to go on this rant. "Well, we're going to take her to the hospital." And we said, "We don't want her to go to the hospital." And they said, "Well, anybody, our job is to take people to the hospital. And any reasonable human being who's having a medical event would want to go to the hospital. Any reasonable human being in the middle of a medical event would want to go to the hospital." This was their rationale for forcing her to go to the hospital when she was out of it. She couldn't communicate. Their whole thing, any reasonable person in this state would want to go to the hospital. So she goes to the hospital. They strong-arm her to go to the hospital. She signs a form. And, by the time she gets at the hospital, she's herself again because the net negative delirious effects of the seizure had passed. And she signed a form that said she didn't want a CT scan. They gave her a CT scan anyway. It's good to be the king, ladies and gentlemen. When you're the king, you can do anything. Stick around. I want to talk more about this when we come back. Kira Milas has no idea who called 911. She had no idea who called 911. Summoning an ambulance filled with emergency and medical techs, Ms. Milas, 23, was working as a swim instructor and had swum into the side of the pool, breaking 3 teeth. Shaken, she accepted the ambulance ride to Scripps Memorial Hospital in La Jolla, California. The paramedics applied a neck brace as a precaution. Give me a break. A week later, she received a bill for the 15-minute trip, $1,772.42. "We only drove 9 miles, and it was a non-life-threatening emergency," she said in a phone interview. "I needed absolutely no emergency medical treatment." Although ambulances are often requested by a bystander or summoned by 911 dispatchers, they are always billed to the patient. And the charges, as well as insurance coverage, range widely from $0 to tens of thousands of dollars. What's more, since ambulance companies typically collect only 30 to 40% of the amount they bill, they often try to charge more for patients with insurance and those who can pay, Mr. Fitch said. Part of the inconsistency in the pricing stems from the fact that ambulance services are variously run by fire departments, hospitals, private companies, and volunteer groups. Some services are included insurance networks, others are not. It's a fragmented system. It's hard to know how much high-priced ambulance transport contributes nationally to America's $2.7 trillion health bill. $2.7 trillion health bill. Just because of ambulance rides. Well, no, the $2.7 trillion isn't all from ambulance rides, but you get the point. San Francisco, with blood oozing from deep lacerations, the 2 patients arrived at California Pacific Medical Center's tidy emergency room. Deepika Singh, 26, had gashed her knee at a backyard barbecue. Orla Roach, a rambunctious toddler on vacation with her family, had tumbled from a couch, splitting open her forehead on a table on a quiet Saturday in May. Nurses in blue scrubs quickly ushered the 2 patients into treatment rooms. The wounds were cleaned, numbed, and mended in under an hour. It was great. They had good DVDs, and the staff couldn't have been nicer, said Emer Duffy, Orla's mother. Then the bills arrived. Ms. Singh's 3 stitches cost $2,229.11. Orla's forehead was sealed with a dab of skin glue for $1,696. When I first saw that charge, I said, what could possibly have cost that much, recalled Mrs. Singh. They billed for everything. Every pill. A day spent as an inpatient at an American hospital costs on average more than $4,000. 5 times the charge of many other developed countries, according to the International Federation of Health Plans, a global network of health insurance industries. The most expensive hospital charges more than $12,500 a day. And at many of them, including California Pacific Medical Center, emergency rooms are profit centers. This is why one of the simplest and oldest medical procedures, closing a wound with a needle and thread, typically leads to bills of at least $1,500. This, by the way, from the New York Times, Paying Till It Hurts. And the previous article that I read for, again, was it the New York Times? Yep, the New York Times. I think the ER is expensive. Look at how much it costs to get there, by Elizabeth Rosenthal, published December 4th, 2013. It's an out-of-control juggernaut, ladies and gentlemen, and it is based upon the cultural myth that everybody needs to go to the MD, that a person in a reasonable state, that it is reasonable to conclude that when you have something wrong with your body, you would want to go to the emergency room. You would want to go to the MD. It is reasonable to conclude that you would want to do that. But it is, in fact, not reasonable to conclude that in someone who's sane. It's reasonable to conclude that in someone who has absolutely no concept of what's going on here with medicine, but it is not reasonable to assume this from a member of Longevity Nation, from a member of my tribe, Dr. Glidden Insiders. It is completely unreasonable to assume, to strong-arm people into being forced into a medical peg. But they do it all the time because it's good to be king. Ladies and gentlemen, snap out of it. I am the red pill. Pop out of the matrix. There is another way. You know what it is. Science-based, clinically verified medical nutrition brought to you by yours truly in Longevity. Dave from Michigan's up next. Stick around. Welcome back, everybody. Monday, April 28th, 2014. Dr. Peter Glidden. Good to be back in the saddle. Let's waste no more time and talk to Dave over there in the thumb. What's going on, Dave? Thanks for the call.
Hey, Doc. Good to talk to you. Just a little solar update. I didn't get a bill in March. I didn't generate enough electricity. They said I had to generate $30 bill to get a bill, and so my combined 2-month bill was $50. They said my average daily usage of electricity was 98 cents a day.
Man, you gotta love solar, man, even in winter.
Absolutely, it is awesome. Anyway, I got a friend here. I met Bill from Florida on one of the Longevity training calls, and I'm trying to help him dial in some issues here. I got him on the line, but he's an over-the-road trucker. He's in Kansas City, Kansas right now, and he's on a headset with a cell phone, and it kind of is. I've already lost him while holding to come online, so I'm going to try and run through this stuff, and he's there for backup. He is 43, 407 pounds right now. In 2006, he had a twisted bowel, and he had surgery. Got a blood clot. They got him on warfarin. He had, in 2009, a twisted bowel again. They got him on a water pill. He's on a blood pressure pill and a potassium pill. He's on a budget. He's got a budget constraint, so somebody's got him on pollen burst, and they said he can't take EFAs because he's on the blood thinners. That's nonsense.
That's a common misconception, right?
That's what I thought.
So if EFAs thin the blood, and he can't be on blood thinners while he's on EFAs, and why don't they just put him on EFAs? Because EFAs have no side effects and blood thinners do. Doesn't make any sense, does it? So what you do, so all of these conditions, right, go back to a digestive issue, and he didn't have a twisted colon because he had a voodoo curse. He had a twisted colon because his body was out of the nutrients that it needed to maintain its structure and function. That's a calcium and a magnesium deficiency, guaranteed, with not enough calcium and magnesium in his body to cause high blood pressure and a twisted gut. He also suffers from either low back pain, restless legs at night in bed, anxiety and panic attacks, or a difficulty falling asleep at bed. And I bet you his teeth are unbelievably horrible, like 30 million root canals, and he probably has all dentures by this time of his life. You know, it's a train wreck. It's not his fault. It's the medical community's fault. He's fallen apart slowly just because he's been putting the wrong fuel into his tank, and he never tuned the damn truck up. I mean, his rig's probably diesel fuel. If he put unleaded gas in his diesel engine, the truck's going to run like crap if it runs at all. And if he never tuned it up, never changed the oil, never changed the transmission fluid, never topped off the power steering fluid, it's only a matter of time until the truck broke down. Well, the human body's the same. He has to put the right fuel in the tank. He has to give his body the nutrients that it needs. He needs a tune-up. He needs an overhaul, or he's going to crash and burn, and it's only a matter of time. And look what, leaning on the wisdom of the MD has gotten him. Suffering, bills, and bills. Thanks a lot, Doc. You're doing a heck of a job. So look, right, the most important thing here is to get some nutrition into his body. And, he would need a 400-pound dose, which is 4 healthy digestion packs a month. If he can't afford that, he needs to do 3 healthy digestion packs. If he can't afford that, 2 healthy digestion packs, whatever. 2 healthy digestion packs a month minimum, plus eliminate the 10 bad foods is a really, really important place to start. And when he does this, every 4 weeks, he needs to have his blood tested for something called a PTO, like Peter, Thomas, Oscar, PTO time. It's called prothrombin time. To check how thin or how thick his blood is. And if his blood gets starting to get too thin while he's on our program, then he weans himself off of the Coumadin, not of the essential fatty acids. He can either do that himself or with a pharmacist's supervision. This is going to be easy breezy lemon squeezy for him, because as he goes down the road, pun intended, with our program, he's going to start to feel slowly better. He's going to start to drop weight without even trying. And things are going to start to come around. But he needs to be on top of the measurement of his blood viscosity with that PTO test, and he needs to be measuring his blood pressure every couple days, because this program I can almost guarantee it's going to normalize his blood pressure. And as his blood pressure numbers start to drop, he's going to need to reduce his blood pressure meds appropriately, because low blood pressure will kill him just as fast as high blood pressure. So, he needs just to be on top of these 2 things. And if he is on top of these 2 things, taking the medical nutrition and following our dietary restrictions, starts putting the right fuel in the tank, he's going to start to feel better and sleep better, and everything improves, man. And then, it's just a matter of time until he comes around to the to the degree that he's able to.
Doc, he also has an open wound on his leg that it was oozing for a long time, and he finally went home, and they hospitalized him for over a month, and they let him back out, but it started oozing again. I told him colloidal silver, but I don't know.
What do you mean you don't know? If he's not going to listen to what you tell him to do, then, you just tell him to drive the damn truck off the side of the road and end it right now.
He's
This is no BS.
That's why I got him on the phone, man. He wants to dial this in. He's a distributor, and he wants to buy a CEO pack, and he wants to do the business and get healthy and do it from the road. So.
All right. Well, look, the problem with the wound is his body is completely undernutrified, and it doesn't have the integrity to heal the wound. It doesn't have the integrity. It's out of steam, man. It's like expecting a brake to stop the car when the brake pad's worn out. It's not there anymore. It's gone. It's gone. It's not there. You step on the brake. What are you going to do? You're going to start a fire. Nothing's going to happen. The car's not going to stop. Truck's not going to stop. You're going to die. So colloidal silver, I would get a big honking bottle of colloidal silver. I would spray it topically on that wound every hour. I'd have a little alarm on my watch go off at the top of the hour, and I'd spray more colloidal silver on that, and then I'd put a gauze bandage around it, and then I'd spray some more colloidal silver on it, put a gauze bandage on it. I do that every hour until it's healed. And as he's on the program with this stuff, you know, things are going to start to improve. And this is what we look for. We look for slow and steady improvement. Slow and steady improvement. But at 400 pounds, it is guaranteed. Yeah, his body is completely undernutrified. That's why he's overweight. So he doesn't have a big stomach. He's not lazy. He doesn't have the fat gene. He has a stupid doctor, for goodness sake, because the only thing that makes people fat, makes people overweight, is their bodies are nutritionally starved. And when their bodies are nutritionally starved, they crave calories because their body's trying to fill the tank up with the right stuff, but the food that we're eating doesn't have the right stuff in it, and so we eat and we eat and we eat and we eat and we eat. 2 hours later, we're starved again. And then we go to the MD with this complaint. The MD throws drugs and death and destruction at us, and quite frankly, it is a problem of biblical proportions here, man. Healthy digestion pack internally, colloidal silver externally, eliminate the 10 bad foods, and he should see slow and steady improvement in 7-day increments. Dave, I got a completely full board. I got to move along. I appreciate you, brother.
Thanks, brother.
Thanks,
Love you, man.
Thank you very much. Going to Tennessee next with Lori. Hey, Lori. Thanks so much for the phone call. You are live.
Yeah, hi. I've been on Dr. Wallett's the blood sugar healthy pack for about 3 months.
Yeah.
And I remember listening one time to one of your shows, and you said that insulin is bad for you. And I'm on a pump. I'd love to get off of the pump. And I also have a thyroid problem, and I'm not on any other medication, just the insulin. But I check my temperature every morning, and my thyroid is still low, like 92 to 95. And I have numbness in my tingling, like in my hands and my arms a lot.
Well, all right. So I need to make myself clear. Insulin isn't bad. You'd be dead without insulin. Your body makes insulin in order to get sugar into the cells. Insulin is like the UPS truck, right? What does the UPS truck do? It brings stuff to your house, brings packages to your house. Well, insulin brings sugar to the cells and helps sugar get inside the cells where it belongs. The problem isn't insulin. The problem is how much insulin is present in the body. When people have diabetes or type 2 diabetes, the mechanism to get the sugar inside the cell is corrupted. So the UPS trucks just keep delivering. The body makes more and more and more and more insulin. The body makes way more insulin than it needs to. And as insulin piles up in the body, in the bloodstream, that's what causes the problem. You know, insulin is like sunshine. Too much of it is exactly what the body needs. I mean, just enough of it is exactly what the body needs. Too much of it will kill you. I mean, you can die from sun exposure. You're in the desert, right? Die from sun exposure. So insulin isn't the problem. It's how much insulin is in the blood. And when the body's healthy, the body can maintain healthy insulin levels, and this is the most important thing.
Well,
Have you seen any improvement with your blood sugar numbers in 3 months?
Yes, but only because, like when I did the ASAP and I ate only meat and vegetables, my insulin runs perfect. But with the pump, I'd like to get rid of the pump.
Well, how long have you been diabetic?
Almost 20 years.
Okay, so it's going to take at least 20 months for you to get rid of the pump. This ain't going to happen overnight, right? You can blow up a house in 10 seconds, but you can't build a house in 10 seconds. It takes a year to build a house from the ground up. Well, more or less. Takes a long time.
Okay.
So this is, we got to be in here for... We got to be into this for the long haul. There are some things you can do to increase the efficiency of the program. So tell me what supplements you're taking right now.
Okay, I take the Ocean's Gold, and I take double of everything because I'm 193.
Okay.
So, and I'm running out of money, but I'll tell you, I'm taking Ocean's Gold, selenium, root beer belly, and probiotics because I'm also heard on one of your shows about colonics, and I thought, maybe that's what I need. So I went and I bought 15 of them because there was a deal buying them that way.
All right, Lori from Tennessee. Hold on. I'm up against a hard break. You stick around, please, and we'll finish this up when we come back. I appreciate you. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm Dr. Peter Glidden. Welcome back. It's Monday, the 28th day of April, 2014, and this is Fire Your MD Now. Welcome back, everybody. Dr. Peter Glidden here, your steadfast advocate for health, welcoming you to another live edition of Fire Your MD Now. We're talking to Lori in Tennessee, who's been on a diabetic pump for a while, been dealing with diabetes for 20 years and wants help. So you can finish up the probiotics. It's never a bad idea to do that. I would do... I would do it twice a day. Do you have just the root beer belly, or do you have the other one as well?
The other one as well.
All right, so I would do the other one immediately before bed, and I would do the root beer belly first thing in the morning when you wake up. So if money is an issue, if you want to optimize this program, here's how you can do it. You can do one original Healthy Start Pack, Healthy Blood Sugar Pack. One original Healthy Blood Sugar Pack. One original Healthy Blood Sugar Pack. One bottle of plant-derived minerals. And one extra bottle of Sweeties a month. One original Healthy Blood Sugar Pack. One extra bottle of Sweeties a month. Plus eliminate the 10 bad foods. Now look. We don't want to overlook the obvious, right? When you were on the Paleolithic diet, just eating meat and vegetables, everything was rosy. So you need to go back to that. Are you blood type O?
Yes.
Well, there you go. So that's what you need to eat like. And every time you try to eat something other than that, you should get one of those little electrical shock collars. Put it around your neck and give yourself a little zap. You need to just lean on those foods. Now, there will come a time, Lori from Tennessee, when your body's going to be so strong and nutrified that you will be able to, branch outside of the vegetable and meat zone and not get hammered by it. But, it's probably going to be a year, maybe a year and a half or 2 years from now. This is a long, slow, and steady process. Now, the thyroid issue, we can address it. Once you run out of the Ocean's Gold, I wouldn't order any more of that. You're on a budget, so you need the selenium for that. So here's my recommendation for you. It's one original Healthy Blood Sugar Pack, one bottle of plant-derived minerals, one bottle of Sweeties, and 2 bottles of selenium a month. 2 bottles of selenium a month. And go into the archives, the radio archives on my website. It's free. And look for Dr. Russ Newman. Look for Dr. Russ Newman. He taught a lymphatic breathing technique. And I want you to do that 2 or 3 times a day. It's an easy thing to do. It's fun to do. You feel great after you do it. And don't neglect the simple notion here that healing is a process. It's not an event. It unfolds itself over time. You're already getting good results. You just need to give the body more time. Keep up the good work, Lori from Tennessee. I appreciate you. Maryland is up next. It looks like Pat has knee issues. Hey, Pat, thanks for the phone call. You are live.
Hello, Dr. Glidden.
Hello, Pat.
Yeah, this is Pat, and I'm on 2 blood pressure medications, Clozar and Dillacor. And I've been having swelling in my ankles. I called Dr. Wallach about a month ago, and he said I'm deficient in the protein. So I've picked up, and I'm eating more eggs. I'm taking the glucogel and the Beyond Osteo, but my ankles and all keep swelling. Now, he said, use salt. I haven't had salt, use salt in my food for about 7 or 8 years, so that just a little bit, I'm very sensitive to it. So I haven't been using salt on my food.
What do you mean sensitive to it? What happens when you eat salt?
Well, my taste buds are sensitive, so if I even eat just a little sprinkle of salt, it seems like it's very salty.
Oh, all right, great. So I'm glad you called about this. I've got a lot to say about this, but regretfully it's the top of the hour. So we've got a real hard break coming up. Can you hang around for the next 6 or 7 minutes, and I'll answer this question at the beginning of the second segment?
Okay.
All right, Pat. But in the meantime, I'll leave you with this thought. Just start to use every day a little bit of salt, just a little bit of salt to your tolerance. Like, don't want to make it taste too bad. You just use a little bit of salt every day, a little bit of salt every day, and inside of 14 days, the tides are going to turn, and you're going to start to crave salt like it's going out of style. But in the meantime, use just an eeny-weeny teeny bit to taste every day, and I'll fill in the rest of the blanks for you when we come back. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm Dr. Peter Glidden. Thanks for your time. Stick around.